Hi everyone, welcome to Otakusphere Weekly, episode 22, I think this is. So it's kind of like our podcast, just graduated from college. I'm Karen, and with me tonight are LB.
Hello.
Sal.
Yo.
And Lifesong.
Hello.
I try to do that in a different order every time we do this. I don't know if I'm succeeding, but you know. I haven't, I should make a program that does that randomizes it. No, I should have Wilson do that. That's the kind of thing he would do. Okay. Alright, so just starting out with some general anime chat. LB, you had some stuff you watched this week that you wanted to mention, right?
Yeah, I very quickly I'll mention that I rewatched Baccano. I love that show. I love the characters.
I wanted to like it because I love the first season of Durarara, but something about the violence in it rubbed me the wrong way. And I know it's not even that violent compared to a lot of other anime you could name, but just something about it I couldn't get past episode 3 or 4.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you for that. It's not for everybody. If violence turns you off, then this series probably isn't for you. So I don't blame you for that.
Well, I'm very weird about violence, because, I was able to watch True Blood on HBO, which is one of the most stupidly violent things ever, but for some reason, I guess just because it looked fake enough to me, it didn't bother me, but it's almost like in animation, because I don't have that way I can say, oh, well, I can tell if that's really, syrup, that's not blood, ha ha ha, the violence actually might bother me more, I don't know, it's weird.
I'm kind of the opposite. I can't watch live action violence, but animated violence, you can go as bloody and gory as you want, and it doesn't bother me.
I'm actually kind of the same way as Karen, except that I like the fact that I have an easier time getting affected by it, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, you were talking about Baccano, and I was just oh no, violence!
No, it's fine. Yeah, there was that, and then I also finally got around to watching Full Metal Panic, the second raid, and I thought it was very interesting that I liked the fan service OVA more than the actual series that preceded it. So I thought that was an interesting little twist.
Which part of it were you watching?
I watched the entire season, and then I watched the fan service OVA that comes with every series now. And I actually liked that more than the full series.
This is Full Metal Panic, I heard you right?
Yeah, Full Metal Panic, the second raid.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. The short third season produced by Kyoto Animation, so... Yeah, I mean, it was a good season, but... Yeah.
Well, I think the school bits of that show... I think it needs the mecha parts of it as part of the compelling aspect of the story, but I think the school parts are by far the best thing the series, the story has. Well, anything about Full Metal Panic has going for it.
Yeah, I saw the first couple of episodes of Full Metal Panic many years ago, maybe when Wilson and I first started dating, actually, because he's a big fan of that series. And I just never ended up following up. I didn't dislike it, but I just didn't feel compelled to watch more. But now that you're Lifesong mentioning the school parts, I remember the one part where Sosuke introduces himself to the class. He's like, I am Sosuke. I am, a sergeant in the military. And then someone's like, what? That's weird. He's like, oh, I misspoke. I mean, I am a transfer student.
Right.
It's hilarious.
He's got these great scenes. And it's really funny, too, because it's normally you want them to get away from the school in an anime. No, you want him to go back to the school.
All right, I really do need to go back and actually watch Full Metal Panic at some point because Wilson's been a big fan
the first season is really good. Second season is too silly. Third season is too serious. So.
Have you seen Fumofu?
That's what he's referring to. Season 2.
Yeah, second season. I watched 1 or 2 episodes and I was like, okay, I can put this on hold. And
you need to watch the rugby episode.
I do plan on watching it eventually. I just am not in any rush to do so. But eventually I will watch it.
There's just this episode where Sasuke takes these rugby players their clubs are about to get canceled because they're the nicest, gentlest people in Japan. and Sasuke takes them and turns them into killing machines. It's the funniest thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, overall, this last season didn't leave me with an unfavorable impression. I still enjoyed the series as a whole, and I'm still looking forward to season 4, though I am hoping that Studio Zebak doesn't, screw it up royally.
They're the ones doing Keijo this season, aren't they?
Yeah, they're doing Keijo. I also remember them from Kanokon and Ladies vs. Butlers and To Love Ru, and I know that they've done all sorts of other series as well, but when I think Zebek, I think fan service. It just is ingrained in my brain.
They've also done a couple mecha comedies as well, like Die Guard and Martian Successor Nadesco.
Oh yeah, totally.
So I think they could pull off Full Metal Panic.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah, I have a good feeling about it. At the very least, I think they'll be better than Gonzo was, but I don't know that that's saying too much.
Also, plus, I think a majority of the staffers, like they brought back some of the staffers that have worked on all the main Full Metal Panic seasons, and some of the folks from Zebek who are working on it worked on Yamato 2199.
Some of the really skilled animators and
Yes.
Industry veterans. I don't know their names, but I know there were some really big people in Yamato.
Yeah, well, I think Zebek worked on Yamato as well too. So
I'd have to look that up.
Well, I think of Zebek or Zebek, whatever it is, and I think of Soft Tenny, and it just makes me happy.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Soft Tenny was them. I'm gonna have to look them.
Yeah,
that
it
up
was
now.
that.
You're right. I'll say this though. I mean, I think my favorite part of Full Metal Panic has always been the comedy, and that's something Zebek is. I mean, yes, it's fan service, but the reason it's enjoyable is because it's funny. So I think that kind of goes. I don't know.
Yeah, we have reasons to be cautiously optimistic about Full Metal Panic Season 4, I guess this is going to be.
Yeah, it's 4. Yeah, I like the comedy in Full Metal Panic. I just think it's best when it's balanced with, the somewhat of more serious moments. Like in Season 1, it was really well balanced. Season 2 just went too silly. Season 3 went too serious. So I just think Season 1 was the perfect happy medium.
Yeah, well, hopefully Season 4 will be like Baby Bear's Porridge.
I have a feeling it's probably going to be serious, mostly serious though.
Yeah, well, Fumofo was a set of like spin-off novels or one-off stories. It wasn't part of the actual main story. And actually, I think what most people refer to seasons, they're referring to Season 1 and 2 as the Gonzo seasons, and then Season 3 is actually the one you just watched, and Fumofu is its like own thing on the side.
This sounds complicated.
But Fumofu is entirely like you could watch Fumofu without even watching the rest of Full Metal Panic. You don't really even need the context.
Okay, well, let's move on from Full Metal to Shelter, which actually came out a couple of weeks ago. We just haven't had a chance to discuss it yet. But Lifesong, I take it you have seen The Shelter?
I have seen it. Oh, it was really, really good. What do I even say about it though?
Yeah, well, I mean, other than the fact that it was, well animated and it was well synced to the music, although the music didn't blow me away. I mean, I know it's like it's a music video, so the music should be very important, but I felt like the music just sort of was a backdrop, and I didn't finish it and think, man, I got to buy that song. Like it didn't have that effect on me.
No, the music didn't really do anything for me either.
Yeah, but I think. Well, would anybody mind if I go all like as a parent again, just for a second?
Go for it.
Go ahead.
I think there's always a part of you that wants to like lock your child away in a cave or something so the ravages of the world won't get them. And like there's a part of you that knows that's wrong. But there's always a part that's like, what if I just like never let her leave the house and I just gave her all these wonderful toys and everything, and then she would never get hurt and never have problems and people would never be mean to her. And even though Shelter is kind of about something else, I think it kind of speaks to that part in every parent where you're like, I just want to protect them forever. So it made me I want to say it made me sad, but that wasn't even quite the right emotion. I mean it made me feel just somber, I guess. I don't know. I'm still processing it. Like, and I saw it like a week or two ago, and I'm still processing it.
It's the kind of thing that. Are you saying something else?
No, I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. I was just saying, it's the kind of thing that like really hit me in my weak spot. I guess I like things that are like intentionally sad, but throw in the you should be hopeful in the middle of it, and it's like. Life on Earth basically ends, and he sends his daughter off into space, essentially, hoping that she'll find something. And it's like, I don't know, I really like the way that played out. I don't really have much else to say about it, but.
Well, I do think it maybe had a bad effect on my current anxiety level. Like, people are talking about, voting for Sweet Meteor of Death and stuff like that. And it's like, no, I don't want a Meteor of Death. I really don't. Look at Shelter. It's scary.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. I mean, really, if you stop and think about it, it's terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, God. Why did we discuss this? No, it's a great piece of art and everyone should watch it, but, like, be emotionally prepared before you watch it. It's not, like, a trivial piece of fluff. Like, you may need to sit there, you may need to, like, watch, like, I don't know, friggin' Ladies versus Butlers after you watch it or something. Just to get that feeling of trivial, oh, okay, I can just not care anymore feeling going. So, nope, okay. So, let's see, we should start with our anime that are not music videos. Starting with Yuri on Ice episode 4, and I actually did a silly thing. I watched this right when it came out on last Wednesday. So I actually barely remember what even happened. I know it was about picking the music for Yuri's program and how Yurio was being transformed into a ballerina, but I actually don't remember too many of the finer details. LB, what'd you think of this episode?
I have a few notes on this one. First note that I had was I liked that they took the time to explain certain aspects of ice skating competitions for those of us who don't really know how the competition world works in ice skating. It did trouble me a little bit that they were explaining it for the benefit of Yuri's parents, who really, their son is a professional figure skater. Shouldn't they know?
Yeah, I know. I had the same thought. Like, are they just really horrible parents who, like, pay no attention to his hobbies or anything?
Yeah, I know. I was sitting there. I was like, really? They should know this by now. They should not, be completely in the dark about this.
So basically we learned via subtext that Yuri's parents are horrible. And now...
Yeah, pretty much.
Yuri and I suddenly comes to have much more in common with March Comes In Like a Lion. Both about emotionally damaged protagonists. Anyway. What else?
The only other things I mentioned in my notes was that I really like how we can already tell that Yuri is going to completely change by the end of the series. I think by the final episode, he's going to be a completely different person than when we first met him in the first episode, which I think is an amazing thing. And I love that we're already starting to see hints of that transformation.
Different in what way, you think?
I think that he's going to grow I think with the guidance that Victor is giving him, that he's going to grow to be a much stronger person, and he's going to become a lot more self-confident. I think that's the direction they're going with it, and I hope that I'm right about that, because I think it's going to be really fun to watch. I think that he's going to grow and be a great skater, and he's going to be an even stronger person because of it. But I think that it's really great that we're already starting to see some hints about that. And
okay, well, the reason I asked was because I was wondering whether you meant whether or not Yuri's going to open up more to people, because other than his family and his, the people he's known for years and years, it seems like he's not very, he doesn't go on dates or anything. He doesn't seem to have a lot of friends, and if he's going to open up more. But the thing is, on this show, if he opens up more, it seems like that would have to involve his relationship with Victor, and I don't know how much they will actually want to go into that and how much they just want to leave the relationship between the two of them in subtext, and I'm not explaining it well.
I think that they could go somewhere with the girl who wrote the music for him. I mean, they haven't even shown her face yet, but there is that option now that they're bringing her music back in.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Yuri actually ends up like showing interest in a girl, will the audience feel betrayed?
That would be interesting.
Let's see. Sal,
I mean, we already know that he said that he's never had a girlfriend ever.
That's actually not that unusual. Well, yeah. At least in my...
Or an anime main character.
No, I'm saying in terms of the direction they could go.
Yeah. What'd you think of Yuri on Ice 4, Sal?
Good stuff. Can't wait to see the 5th episode.
Oh yeah, because he's gonna have to do the.
It was very funny how the stuff Yuri was going through with the strict ballerina teacher that used to date the Russian coach.
Right. Yeah, that was funny, and actually, just the way she's like, okay, you have to totally reinvent yourself over and over again. That's what successful people do, and just that kind of hit me unexpectedly hard because I felt like lately, like a lot of things that I thought were true about myself for my whole life, I realized, oh, actually, that's not true about me. I decided I wanted that to be who I was, and stuff like that. So even though it's not like a really unique sentiment or anything, just kind of watching that, I was like, whoa, reinventing yourself, jeez. So. In my typical articulate way. Wow, that's deep, man. Lifesong, what did you think of episode 4?
I liked it. I was a little put off by the stock footage they were using. Like, I think they showed the same clip of Yuri ice skating like 3 or 4 times in the one episode.
Didn't they use the same clip of him falling that I think they used before also?
Yeah, I think I haven't gone back to compare between episodes, but I think they are like, and they're not treating it as a flashback. They're using it as a new part of the story. It's like, no, please stop that.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're saving the big movements for the competition.
I mean, I'd rather they just use less. I don't know, less motion. Be less ambitious and make a better product. I don't know. It really bothers me when I'm seeing the exact same animation as a new scene repeated over and over.
Do you think, as much as people kind of like to kvel about how great this director is, do you think maybe she has a problem that she's too ambitious?
Maybe they don't have the budget. Maybe they don't have enough people working on it. Maybe the real finished product that they ultimately have in mind is what will be sold on Blu-ray, and we'll get actual new scenes for those, and they're just placeholder that they didn't have time to replace. I don't know.
Well, even the version we saw on Crunchyroll was a placeholder to a certain extent, because apparently the Crunchyroll version that we saw was earlier than the TV broadcast, and the TV broadcast actually had corrections in it. So.
Oh, like for this episode we're talking about now?
Yeah, for episode 4 specifically.
Okay, because I mean it was bothering me a good deal. I'm like watching it, like you can't get away with that. You can't get away with that.
Yeah. Come to think of it, there were some scenes where I noticed when Yuri was skating where he seemed a lot thinner than usual during the skating scenes.
I actually like have a note.
So maybe that was one of those
saying that he looked
things?
like a Clamp character.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
He looked like he was designed by Clamp towards the end of the episode.
A badly undetailed Clamp character.
Yeah, totally.
Well, that's what happens when Victor trains you. You become a leggy Clamp person.
with no features.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm just enjoying the show overall so much. It would have to take quite a dive in animation quality for it to really affect my enjoyment. Like, next episode when he's actually competing, if the animation is poor, then that would bother me. But this episode, I was fine with it.
I guess it would have to hit a Toei level dip.
Don't say such things. All right. But anyone else got any comments on the ice skating sensation of the season?
No.
Okie dokie, so I'm psyched for episode 5, which is actually out as we speak, but I haven't watched it yet.
I had to resist watching it this afternoon.
You good boy. Good LB. Yeah. Being nice to the rest of us. Okay, so on a totally different note, let's move on to Keijo, episode 4, and this was a very special episode. So, okay, we've got like the battle for the fastest butt in the West, which was amazing in its own way. And then we had titty hypnosis, which is like, need I say more? But the absolute best part of this episode, I thought, or most interesting part, went by in a flash, which is the one girl has the butt that apparently cancels all physics.
Yes. She was very upset when everyone was all, you got lucky. Like, no, that wasn't luck.
But it's like, I remember I was watching the opening trying to figure out what like her special Keijo power was going to be, and I was like, she just looks really bouncy. I don't know, maybe everything just like bounces off of her. And then I watched it and I was like, I'm a genius. Because basically her butt is magical. It's like Toma's magic cancel power from some magical insects. She just cancels all incoming butts.
She has a magic breaker in her butt.
So yeah, needless to say, this episode kept me very entertained. Sal, what did you think?
I was like entertained throughout the whole thing.
Were you surprised when what's her name, Wedgie Girl won? Because I actually didn't think she was going to win. I thought she was going to have to lose and then win later in the season.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, like that mentality she did, that's also like the very same reason why, for example, like male professional swimmers would wear Speedos, you know, since the more space in the butt helps you swim a lot faster.
Well, that's true in swimming. I don't know how well it would work in this particular situation.
Yeah.
You know what, though? Nobody can actually move their butt at supersonic speeds. So let's consider that if they could, maybe it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, once we're in the crazy world.
Since you don't have the bikini blocking the waist, so it has like more leg space to move. It's like how people who wear shorts when they run can run faster than someone wearing jeans because you have less fabric to block the leg movement.
You know, I was just thinking, they should really be doing Keijo naked then. Then I was like, oh God, no. Oh God.
Don't give them that suggestion, Karen.
I know. What's wrong with me? You know what? That's probably going to...
I don't think they can, since kids do watch Keijo as well, too, in that world.
That's probably going to be the OVA, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you're a genius.
Someone at Zebek is listening, like, oh, thank God I listened to these English language anime podcasts. This is why. This is the insight I've been waiting for. Because no one would have come up with the idea of making sexy girls naked without listening to me. Life, other than the physics-canceling butt, what did you think of this one?
The only extra thing I have to add is that I was actually laughing so hard during the scene where they were explaining the oxygen part of it that I was like, hey, I'm having that same problem right now.
Yeah, you know that thing where you laugh so hard where you're actually like, oh, I need to breathe. This is hard. Oh dear.
I loved it. I was actually kind of hoping she wasn't going to win, and the reason I was hoping she wouldn't win, I suspected she would. The reason I was hoping she wouldn't is because I was hoping I can't think of her name now. The genius one that can predict everything. I was like, somebody's got to lose. I don't want it to be her. And it was her.
Yeah, I was kind of sad it was her too. But what are they going to do about them getting bumped up to the
It's only because she got titmatized.
I think that she lost. Well, she lost to the strongest Keijo player in the whole thing. So, I mean, the fact that she cornered her might be enough to get her promoted. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not sure. See, I can't imagine they're actually going to get promoted because it just seems like, I don't know. Then I feel like Nozomi's going to lose her whole like underdog thing. If she's like, oh, look at I can eat all the gelato I want all day long. I don't know.
Or maybe they'll all decide to stay behind. I don't know.
Well, maybe they'll have it where they get promoted, but the promoted life they take advantage of it, that they hold back on their training, and then they get demoted again.
Or getting promoted is the next step, and now they're fighting against another school, and they're representing their school, and they're still the underdogs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I think it's safe to say we are way more invested in the show than we really thought we would be.
It's just so much fun. It's so dumb, but it's like... It's not dumb. It's actually why it's amusing, is that it's ridiculous, but it's consistent.
Yeah, it takes smarts to come up with all these different butt attacks and everything. You can't just dash this off in a lunch hour. It takes some thought.
Yep, along with trying to give it the sports anime touch.
Yeah, that's like... I can't. I'm just so amused that somebody actually made this.
Yeah.
Especially with the attacks being referenced to iconic stuff from like anime and manga, which tops it off too.
I'm not even noticing that.
Like the butt. Like I think the butt Gatling is a reference to Luffy from One Piece's signature attack, Gum Gum Gatling Gun.
Yeah, I did have that thought. I wasn't sure if that was an intentional thing or not.
So far, I think they've been kind of vague enough they could be references to a lot of different things, but we'll see. Well, except titty hypnosis, which I think is its own thing.
Now, you know what would be great is if we saw Luffy give himself a wedgie to speed himself up. Then we know!
Yeah.
Then we know what is being referenced. Okay, so we're going to move on to Izetta the Last Witch, episode 5. This is the first episode of Izetta I was a little bit down on. I liked most of it and how they kind of did the fake witch attack because there were no ley lines in the area, so she couldn't use her magic power. Like, it was kind of clever how they pulled that off. But then at the end, where they do the thing where they're like, oh, let's discuss our top military secret, near where the army is camping. Yeah. And anybody could walk in, and it's like, oh, come on, couldn't you guys think of a better way for that secret to get out? It just seemed really contrived.
I agree. I don't think it bothered me that much. I still thought the episode was really good. I'm glad that it's going the direction it's going. I think it's going to be a real interesting show, and I'm really enjoying the overall direction. I also was like, oh god, are you really going to do this in this way? And yeah, they did, but at the same time, it's an anime. They don't have the time to establish a more advanced, complicated plot reason for their thing to get overheard.
Unless if it was a guy that's been working on its idea for a gajillion years, and he finally got the idea animated.
Yeah, even then, I mean, it's a 12-episode show.
Yeah.
And they are trying to do something ambitious with it, so at least somewhat ambitious with it.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but I guess the fact that they're moving so fast, maybe why they had to use kind of such a lame device, because they don't have time to kind of have something build for a couple episodes.
I mean, yeah, that could have easily been its own arc.
Yeah.
If they really wanted to do it right.
All right. Well, I'm a little bit skeptical that every time anything related to this plot point comes up, it's just going to make me roll my eyes. But I mean, I'm still
by the way,
on board.
When the scene where they were taking photos of the princess when she announced Izetta to the world, like, I almost thought that the black light bulbs in the beginning were like grenades, like Germania snuck in and we're going to throw grenades during the speech.
Oh yeah, I was confused about that.
What was up with that? I wonder if I just don't know how old cameras work. Do they blow through light bulbs like
yeah,
that?
that's what I'm guessing. That's what I realized, and it's like, wait, those aren't grenades. They're actually dead light bulbs. Okay.
Yeah, I knew they were light bulbs. I was just it did catch me off guard. Like, they kind of look like they're grenades, but I wasn't sure. Like, I don't know enough about cameras, so you've answered the question though.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad now I understand, because I was thinking the same thing. Like, oh, is someone going to try to bomb this event? And then I forgot about it as the episode went on. So now I'm glad I know what's going on. LB, what'd you think of this episode?
I don't have a lot to say about this episode. I thought it was fine. Watching this episode, and the scene where they set up the fake attack and Izetta, does her big theatrical thing. I'm fearing the moment when Germania kind of figures out the secret and they attack, and the country will need Izetta to perform for real, but she won't be able to because there's no ley lines, and I'm fearing that moment already because I already know it's going to happen, unless they do something dramatically different. But I get the feeling that's the direction they're going.
The biggest problem that Izetta has is also one of its strengths right now, and that makes it hard to tell whether the show is going to have a strong finish or it's going to just be when we get to the end, and that is that it's really predictable at the moment.
Yeah,
and that's not too much of a problem. I mean, this was all set up. It was getting us ready for what's coming next. So really, what's coming next is going to determine how I feel about the show as a whole.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes at the mid-season mark, which we're almost at.
Give me episode 7, and then I'll tell you.
Yeah, Nuala, please don't get up on that. Oh, sorry.
At first, I was like, "What's up with the total non sequitur?" And I was like, "Oh, cats, right? Yeah."
Yeah, sorry.
Sal, anything you wanted to say about this episode?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna guess that maybe next week or 7, like last, it'll probably be when more people find out about Izetta's secret. Probably.
I'm curious how they'll work in the reoccurring soldier dude and what he'll do. I suspect he'll
the spy, like which one? The guy with the glasses, or the spy from Germania?
Nah, the spy's role is super predictable. The guy from the guy that Izetta saved. That's all.
The witch is so cool. I love the witch.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of suspect that we ultimately will get to see him do something heroic at some point in the show. And it might even be a highlight of it.
I have a sneaking suspicion that what he does is going to annoy me, but I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Oh, well, it'll do that first. I mean, that's how you set him up. And then,
like he's pretty much the underdog of the show right now, so.
Well, he's not really even all that important yet.
Yeah.
It's surprising that he's still alive.
And who else liked the World War II style newsreel footage? I thought that was a nice touch.
I like that. I think they even did 4:3 animation for it. It was like, yeah, it was cool. I like that kind of effect when an anime does that.
Yeah, and it's funny because even though I was like, oh, I don't want this World War II in my anime right now, I do think it's cool when they do stuff like that. Like, it's just more puts you more into that world.
Yeah, I think they've got a really good mood theme going for it, and the characters are cool. The story it needs to step up.
Yeah, at this point it does.
I'm not worried yet, but it needs to step up.
Okay. So we're going to move to Flip Flappers episode 4, which surprisingly kind of just chilled out and slowed down this episode. I found it interesting, and I was kind of glad that they had an episode to sort of take a breath. And I like the fact that they had a discussion with the girl who's now their antagonist, and it wasn't like they were able to have like a civil discussion. I was like, wow, that's so mature. Like, they don't have to just battle every time they see each other or whatever. But beyond that, I don't feel like I have a whole lot to say about it. I'm just looking forward to what comes next. Life?
Yeah, I actually like. I felt like they did a lot to confirm my suspicions last week of how they were setting up the story and where they're wanting to go with it. And just basically, like, you know, with Kokuna is the blue-haired girl.
Yes.
And the red-haired girl.
Paprika.
Thank you.
Think like paprika, except
yeah,
no
yeah. That's what I need to do. Except I'm going to start calling her Paprika, and it'll be your fault. Everything around Paprika, you get to her little home thing, the log, and everything around her world is like coming to life in a magical way. Like even the food that she's eating, like, you know. And I know what this is because of Flying Witch. The edible ferns they were eating for dinner. She has no idea what they are, but they're ginormous.
Well, I like the fact Kokuna was like, "Can you eat this?" And Paprika was like, "Well, I'm eating it." It's like, "Well,
I'm eating it." Yeah, that was her answer. That's all she thought. You know, I mentioned last week, like, the thing with the grandma, where you think you kind of get the feeling early on with Kokuna that she's got some family situation. And she really doesn't. Her family is dead, we now know. Her mom and dad have died. But her sense of duty is self-imposed.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to learn... I'm assuming we're going to learn where that comes from. I think that there's got to be some element of her trying to pretend to be something she's not, or something like that. So, let's see. One more thing I wanted to mention about this episode is we get the two girls bathing in this episode, and you don't see anything, but I know that's the kind of thing that are making some people go up in arms about this show, but I don't know, I kind of feel like it's not difficult if you look at this show through a certain lens to see it as being about sexual awakening to a certain extent, so as long as it's not excessive and they don't actually, like, show anything, I don't really find the suggestive nudity to be a problem. I'm assuming you're kind of in the same place?
I mean, I was watching it, and I didn't even really think it was all that sexualized, honestly.
Yeah, well, that seems to be something people have latched onto with this show, but I don't want to get sidetracked about that.
I see that, and I don't know. I don't want to sound too dismissive, but people freak out about nudity in anime, and they don't really pay attention to what it's trying to do thematically. Like, yeah, I am going to be dismissive. I read all these things on what people's opinions or impressions are. Like, did you even watch the episode? It didn't do that.
Yeah, it's like almost like it's like they react in a way, and then they let that reaction cloud what the show was trying to do.
Yeah,
instead of just pause for a second, step away from the screen, take a deep breath. Now, go back to watching the show.
More than sexuality, I think what they were going for was vulnerability. Sure, the two things get woven together, but they haven't really sold it in a meaningful way, or in a thematic way. I don't know. I guess I could see what you mean about the sexual awakening, but I don't know that I really see for sure that that's what they're doing with the story.
Well, right now it's pretty vague in that it's kind of like Kokuna is living this very, like, uptight life, kind of maybe trying to pretend to be something she's not. Then she meets Free-Spirited Girl, and it changes her, and they have these amazing adventures together, and then they're sleeping together and bathing together. So far it's in very broad strokes. The actual themes that become important in the show may end up being something else entirely. But it's, but I don't think it's wrong to say that way of looking at it is there. Wow, I'm not putting myself too far out on a limb, right?
Right. No, I don't think so.
What, there might be a way of looking at this show that involves sex. Yay. I'm such a smart analyst. All right. Okay, so we're going to move on to a show I'm not watching, Magical Girl Raising Project, Episode 5. LB, most important, tell me who died this episode.
No one died this episode.
Oh.
Nobody died. It was actually... I don't know if this show is playing with us or not. What do you think?
I don't think it's playing with us, but honestly, this whole episode was, like, frustrating to me. I didn't really care for this episode.
It's not that I didn't care for this episode. It's that it played out in a incredibly predictable fashion, which is weird because except for the ending, nobody died. Like Sister Nana, she's so dumb.
Yeah. Oh my God, my word was naive, but yes, dumb.
No, dumb,
and
stupid.
Yeah, to the point that it bothered me.
Yeah. The thing is though, the narrative with the way the narrative was going in the start was like, oh, she's dead. Her purpose is served. She's gonna die. She didn't die.
Yeah.
So that was the one unpredictable element of the show. So maybe next episode she'll die and we'll continue. Maybe Calamity Mary will actually be the one to kill her, I guess.
Honestly, most of the characters that this episode focused on really bugged me. I couldn't get behind anyone in this episode. I didn't like Magicaloid. I don't like Calamity Jane. I don't like Sister Nana. I don't like Winter Prison. I don't care. I didn't care for any of the characters in this episode.
Yeah, well,
wow.
all the characters you mentioned too, I have more or less the same thoughts. The fact that they're getting focused on now probably means they're going to be the ones that die earlier on. I think the ones that are going to stick around at least till toward the end are the witch, her ninja friend, and Snow White and La Pucelle.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have this feeling that Sho is going to end up getting killed in real life, and while he's not a magical girl.
Whoa, that'd be hardcore.
Yeah, it would be.
I think that the show might go there, though. And the reason I say that is because she keeps calling him Sho out loud. Stop it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like I know exactly where this is going now. It got its one surprise out of the way. But I also realized, like, this Fav guy, we're supposed to think of him as being like Kyubey, but he's not. Kyubey actually tells the truth. He's manipulative and he hides information, but he tells the truth. I think that Fav might actually just be a lying bastard.
Yeah,
I don't even think like the whole we have to kill half of you. No, he's going to kill all of them.
I don't think he's going to kill all of them, and I don't think. And he is a bastard. I totally agree with you there. He is such a bastard. I'm really curious. My thought on Fav, though, is that he's making up the whole bit about there being admins that he has to check in with. It's like bullshit. There are no admins.
He may or may not be. But
I don't believe that there are.
Whether they are or not at this point isn't important because we wouldn't know what their feelings on this whole game would be either way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like my suspicion is that I'm gonna forget her name now. The oldest magical girl is actually the winner of the last set
Purge?
of the last magical girl battle, and she's the sole survivor. And she actually says in the episode, if you're paying attention, like I don't even need candies.
Mm-hmm.
And she may very well be telling the truth. I don't eat candies. I'm not even a part of this competition. And the girl they added was actually the real final girl for the match.
Sounds interesting listening to you guys talk about it. But no, I dropped it. I'm good.
It may or may not be. I don't know. It got ahead of me and definitely surprised me with the coup. I mean, I was not expecting Sonoko to go all murderer. She did, but
does the main magical girl have a secondary magical girl that might be her temporary comrade?
I kind of doubt there's any chance that the comrade is going to betray her at any point. That seems very unlikely, but there's a good chance he'll actually die at some point.
What if they kill the main magical girl and it's the comrade that's the one being at the end, the final battle?
They in the very first episode, the very first minute 50 seconds, they show, isn't it Snow White that they show all bloody and surrounded by bodies?
Yeah, they show pretty much Snow White snapping and killing everyone and enjoying.
Yeah, so I don't think that she's gonna die.
Well, I mean, it might be La Pucelle's death that pushes her over the edge.
Yeah, totally. I just meant that, and for that reason, I don't think that Snow White is going to die. I don't think they're going to do that twist.
All right. So I enjoy listening to you guys talk about it, if not watching it. So I'm going to move on to March Comes In Like a Lion, episode 4. And I think what's happening is that as Ray gets more and more kind of emotionally bolstered by his relationship with the sisters, he will buy more and more furniture for his apartment, and then at the end he'll actually have like a proper apartment. So now I feel like the show's going somewhere in that he has to make repeated trips to IKEA. And I'm like, yeah, I can get behind that. LB, what do you think of this episode?
It was all a marketing scheme.
I thought that not a lot happened in this episode, but I still really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first half much more than the second half.
Yeah, honestly, the second half I kind of like was fading in and out. Like, oh, it's about this kid again. I don't really care.
I don't really care for it. I didn't really care for the second half as much. I didn't dislike it, but it just, the first half I was so much more emotionally invested because Hina's little story about wanting to make a bento for the guy she has a crush on, and then, screwing it up, and then not being able to give it to him, and then the nice little happy ending. It was such a sweet little story. I really liked it. And when she came home with the bento in her arms because she couldn't give it to him, I admit I got vaguely misty-eyed. Just vaguely.
Aw. Lifesong, are you up to date on this one? I'm sorry. I don't
no, I wish.
Okay. Yeah, well, when you can, get caught up. It's good.
I will get caught up before the end of the podcast, or before the end of the season. I will get caught up.
Well, I was going to say, if you were going to get caught up before the end of the podcast, that would be complicated. Like, you'd have to like go and watch it while we sit here and twiddle our thumbs for 20 minutes and then come back, and that would be a little rough. Okay, so we're going to move on to Kiss Him, Not Me, episode 4. This was a fun episode, although another one I've now watched almost a week ago, and it's like, I feel like it's good for me to watch the episodes as soon after they come out, because then I don't get a backlog, but then by the time we record, I'm like, oh shoot, what happened in this? But I do remember that them having a swell time at Comiket, so that was fun. LB, I remember you being rather enthusiastic about this one.
Oh yeah, oh god, I loved this episode. I am loving the series so much more than I ever expected to. And I swear, it's like getting to the point where I'll watch it over the weekend, and then I'll be annoyed at myself that I watched it so soon because I have to wait like 3 or 4 days to actually discuss it with you. And it's like, no! So yeah, that gets frustrating on my end, but that's my personal problem. But yeah, overall, the episode itself was really good. I thought that the twists were fun. At first I was a little annoyed that they didn't spend more time at Comiket, but then I saw the second half, was like, okay, totally get it now. All it's forgiven.
Let's see. What even happened at Comiket? The guys split up and they buy a bunch of dojin, but they're kind of getting.
They have to go and buy a whole bunch of boys love, and it basically just shows their different reactions. Some of them are really embarrassed about it. There's the one guy who actually goes out of his way to compliment the artists, and they think he's an amazing angel sent from above, and la da 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 da.
Yeah, I tend to like things that are said at Comiket just because I kind of wish I could go there someday, but. Well, let me put it another way. I wish I could go to a magical fantasy version of Comiket that had, like, maybe half the people.
I wish that I could go to a magical fantasy version of Comiket with, like, a third of the people and materials that were in English.
That, too. Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah, that's the one reason why I don't really care about ever going to Comiket, because it's not like I can really, read any of the stuff that I buy there. So that's
we'll see.
Why.
If you have, like, very limited reading comprehension in Japanese, in a way, it's almost worse. It's like, okay, the woman is doing a thing. That's pretty much what I get out of manga. That's not translated. Let's see. But actually, the most interesting thing about this episode to me was in the preview where they show that she goes back to her roly-poly self the next episode. I really did not think they were going to do that. So I'm actually really surprised to see where that goes.
I have a note about that as well. I'm really excited to see how the boys are going to react. Because it seems like from the preview, the impression that I'm getting is that her... Well, you can't call her girlfriend yet, but her female the female harem member who just joined the cast. It seems like she is like feeding her chocolate and getting her to go back to her old self, and the boys are like, oh no, you can't do that, and it's like, oh god, really? So I'm really curious to see how it goes. I'm hoping that the boys don't turn out to be complete and utter assholes, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we know that they're probably going to have a bad reaction, and then eventually have a better reaction and start helping her. But there's having a bad reaction, and then there's being a total unmitigated jackass. So hopefully,
yeah, which I'm hoping they don't do.
Yeah, I don't really need to see them go there, but I mean, maybe it would be quote unquote realistic if they did. But no, I don't want to see that.
Yeah,
okay.
I admit that. I don't really want to see it either, because I've grown to like these characters, and I don't want to see them become, complete jackasses over this.
Yeah, I do find that other than the dude who's, like, very chill, and the one who, like, seemed to always like her from the beginning, I find the other three guys kind of blur together a little bit for me. Like, there's hot-headed one, and then there's calm one, and then there's young one who's trying to act mature, and that's pretty much all I got. So.
Yeah, I don't remember the names of the other three. I remember Mutsumi, because he's the one who stands out as the one who always, really liked her. At least I hope I'm getting that name right. But yeah, the other three, I think I can remember, like, some of their names, but I would have to actually look it up to, like, put their names to the face.
Yeah. All right, maybe by next episode we'll actually know people's names. It could happen.
Maybe.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Uta Pri, episode 5, and unlike Kiss Him, Not Me, I'm not really enjoying this one very much right now. This one was a pretty standard episode of Cecil and his duet partner. His duet partner is like the biggest drama queen who has ever lived, who's like, I can't sing a duet because I can only sing for heavens. If I sing in some other context, it will defile my soul. And then this is apparently like a real problem they have to solve. So, and plus, whenever they do an episode with Cecil, I'm always secretly hoping he's going to go back to being a cat, at least for a little while. And it never happens, and I'm always sad. So yeah, I was really disappointed with Uta Pri 5. What about you, LB?
I actually laughed when Shion first showed his deep level of ennui. I was just like, oh my goodness, it seems very bizarre that a Japanese idol would have this level of despair and and complete ennui. I thought that was a little weird. But then I got used to it, and it was like, okay, whatever. The thing that bugged me most about this episode, though, was Cecil more than anything, because I swear the way he was acting, it was like, he acted like my dog does when she feels that we're not giving her enough attention. He was like an unloved puppy.
I've got to say, you guys are really, really brutal to these characters. I don't know them, but I'm starting to feel bad for them.
It's kind of true.
Cecil acted like a puppy that doesn't get enough attention. That's the way he was acting throughout the entire episode. And it was like, dude, chill. You're just as bad as him.
Well, I don't even remember Cecil's backstory and
Sorry.
Hey, there's the puppy. He's howling now.
Yeah, that means my wife just came home.
Okay. Where was I? Uta Pri 5. Well, Cecil's kind of I don't remember even the reason why he was a cat for a while or something. I don't remember if he was a cat originally or he was cursed and became a cat and then Haruka undid the curse or something. But you kind of get the impression he's not really that used to being around humans. So he just kind of tries to be all happy-go-lucky and hey, what do you want to do? Oh, that sounds good. So him being a puppy kind of makes sense. But once they explained to him what the problem was, I didn't really believe that he would actually come up with a solution. The whole, we're actually, even though we're in different bands, we're actually different constellations in the same sky. And it's no, that wouldn't... First of all, I don't think that would help solve Shion's problem. And second of all, that doesn't seem I don't know. So let's just say not a very good episode of Uta Pri. I take
to be fair, that was a very Uta Pri type solution, though. If it's anything, if they had gone with like a real, like genuine solution that you might actually see in reality, it would have totally killed it. But that was a very Uta Pri type solution.
It's true. Also, have you noticed that Nanami is like completely unimportant this season, even though she's writing 8 million songs?
I remember a couple of weeks ago I had a note about that. It's like, how hard are they working this poor woman? It's like they're like, you know, at the start of the season, it's like, okay, we're gonna do all these duets, and no one bothers to think about, you know, the fact that Nanami has to suddenly write 8 billion songs for all sorts of different people, and she has to do it with these crazy deadlines, and it's like, seriously, you know, give the poor woman a break.
Yeah, like, actually, if she was, like, dealing with the effects of overwork, that would actually be, like, something like having a character arc, which might be interesting. But the show isn't... It's just like, okay, this episode is about these 2 cute guys. Watch them have their cute personalities contrast with each other. The end. Like, it doesn't even... It's not going far enough to give Uta Pri to give Haruka an actual storyline. So. Yeah,
I think you actually had a good point a couple of weeks ago, when you said that, honestly, we could probably skip discussing this series all the way up until the last 2 or 3 episodes when it'll actually get, you know, interesting again. But yeah, honestly, I think we're going to be saying pretty much the same thing week after week for the next, you know, 5 weeks.
Let's just see how vicious we could be about the characters for the sake of, of upsetting Lifesong.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
I'm gonna start watching this show and defending it by the end of this.
Hey, feel free. That sounds fun to me.
Yeah, go for it.
It'll make it more worthwhile that I'm watching it. Okay, so moving on to Kaiju Girls, episode 6. Sal, I have a question for you, and I hope you can answer it for me.
Yes.
The girl who's called the Red King, why isn't she red at all?
Yeah, I don't know either. Like,
it was bothering me this whole episode.
I think it's because the original monster's like it was like a powerhouse creature, and I guess maybe the red comes from maybe its fury. It tends to be a furious type of monster.
So shouldn't she at least have like some sort of red glowing aura or something, even if like her costume isn't red or something? Yeah. I don't know. It's bothering me, man. I want to like you, Kaiju Girls. You're making it hard. And what even happened in this episode? They're talking about, like...
something about a career exam, about what they want to do for a living and stuff.
But wait, I thought, like, maybe the good thing about being a literal monster girl was that you wouldn't have to, like, do career prep. But it's like, what's even the point of being a monster girl if you have to worry about jobs?
I'm guessing it's something related to being a monster girl.
Yeah, but, like, can't they just go and, like... I think the show would be better if they just went and, like, I don't know, like, ripped up buildings and ate people and stuff while in little chibi form. They're, like, so socially responsible about everything. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe that's the appeal, that they're monster girls, but they're kind of not. I don't know.
Kind of wondering how the light novel played out, since these are just short, and the light novels are, like, longer volumes. So, kind of wondering what the premise in those is.
Yeah, this show would better do something soon, because even though it's only, like... Actually, I don't know if it's 3 minutes or if it's 5 minutes. I don't remember. I think it might be 5 minutes, but even at only 5 minutes, it's like, come on, show, you gotta do something. Are you getting more out of it than I am at this point?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I'm kind of a little bit, but only because I'm kind of familiar with some of those kaijus and their characteristics, so... From what I've seen of them in a couple of the Ultraman shows, like, the girl version of them kind of features some of their basic characteristics.
Yeah, maybe I'm just doing the wrong thing trying to watch this. Like, maybe if you don't know what they're riffing on, it just has, like, basically no value. Like, it's only funny if you really know where the source comes from. I don't know. So.
Yeah, it's like the easiest example is the Pigmon girl. Like, that's a Pigmon, like I said before, he was a monster that's really good with people, and everyone finds him to be very adorable, and that's what she is, basically. Like, she's basically acting on those characteristics.
Yeah. All right, but just because I started watching it, I'd like it to do something amusing. So, come on, Kaiju Girls, have a big old kaiju fight or something. So, yeah, woo. Anything further about Kaiju Girls?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Hopefully, we'll see those rogue Kaiju Girls, the ones who lost control of their monster soul, so we can actually see a fight or something with those.
We can hope.
Because that's the only possible conflict that the show could set up for.
Well, they could have other conflicts, but that's probably the only one they're going to do, if any. Next on my list is Gakuen Handsome. Am I the only one keeping up with this?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I don't even remember if I watched episode 2.
Yeah, this show can be like that. Actually, I watched episode 5 like earlier today, and then I was thinking about it, and I was like, wait, did I actually watch episode 5?
I'd have to check Crunchyroll to know if I've watched it or not.
Okay, well, actually, that's the last thing on my list other than Drifters, but I figured but LB's watching that, right? So we should wait for him to,
Yeah,
I'm back, sorry.
Alright. Just in time, LB. We're ready for you in life to talk about Drifters.
Alright, sounds good.
That dude was totally Jesus.
Yeah, totally, I told you. Admittedly, I had to be told, but yeah, I told you as well.
Well, I don't think anyone would have had to be told after he went into the orc camp and started miraculously healing the orcs.
Mm-hmm.
He's like laying his hands on them and like healing the orcs. It was weird. I don't even know.
Okay, so you've got Jesus running around healing people. What else are these, I don't know, historical figures doing?
Oh, well,
they are starting a rebellion of elves versus their human oppressors.
Yeah.
Huh.
What's
Jesus...
his name? Hiyoshi? No, well, go ahead.
And Jesus is on whose side in this?
The evil side.
Yeah, Jesus has decided that since he was rejected by humanity, he will help the demi-humans. He'll become their Jesus.
Wait, when was Jesus rejected by humanity? I must have missed this.
I'm telling you
When
what
he
was
was hung
said.
up on the cross, I guess.
Yeah, that was probably that reference.
Wait, I don't get it, but I thought the whole cross thing... Now, I'm not Christian, so this doesn't come easily to me, but I thought
There's nothing Christian about Drifters. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But, like, I thought the whole thing about him dying on the cross for like, everyone's sins was, like, he did it willingly because that way, like, people would be absolved of their sins and they could, like, go back to eating bacon and stuff or something like that. So why is he blaming humanity when it was his choice? I'm really confused.
You know what? Your impression of it is way better than Drifters.
Okay. So
No, Drifters is just doing whatever it wants.
But are you enjoying it, though?
Guys. Yeah, I'm loving it. It's great.
Okay, LB, what about you?
I am still enjoying it. I think there are certain parts of it. I think this week was a lot better than last week, because this week actually felt like it had a point. The main complaint that I have is that last week it seemed like the next episode preview hinted that we were going to get more Easy and Murasaki, and we didn't. We got like 2 minutes in the very beginning, and then they were just gone. And it's like, damn it, what's a guy got to do to get like half an episode with these guys?
Oh, speaking of which, like, which side is Nobunaga on in this war?
He is on the side of Drifters, the good side.
Yeah, the good side is basically made up of... I mean, like, Billy the Kid is one of the good guys.
Yeah.
To
be fair, I mean, to call the Drifters the good side is kind of...
They're the humanity... No, it's humanity versus, like, the supernatural demi-humans. Although it seems like the elves are going to be their own faction. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the elves are going to be cannon fodder, to be honest.
Are these, like, Tolkien elves, or are they, like, what kind of elves are they?
Yeah, the whole universe kind of feels Tolkien-like. I mean, it's not, and it is at the same time. Like, they talk about dwarves and hobbits. I mean, like, they mention hobbits by name, so, yes.
Okay. All right. That was actually the last show on my list, although I think I didn't write down Occultic 9 because I'm not watching it. But, Life, do you have anything you wanted to say about Occultic 9?
Maybe. Sal, did you catch up on it?
Unfortunately, no. Like, I was dealing with a couple hectic things last week. Sorry.
I can't complain. I'm behind on my anime too. Just other than I think that people need to give this show another shot. I don't really have too much to say about this episode. I love what they're doing with it, and I'll just leave it at that. Maybe we can talk about it next week.
Okay. All right. So I think we're done for this week. Just trying to think if there's anything Like, I feel like there's some anime thing on the horizon that I should be talking about, but if there is, I have no idea what it is. So, guys, like, if there's any exciting anime thing that's happening, we'll totally talk about it next week.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.